Hi there. The last time we talked about what is a product feed, what does it consist of, and where do you actually use it, and how can you leverage it to optimize your performance on the channels where you want to use your product feeds, was the last thing that we talked about. Today we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that topic. How do you actually adjust the data in your product feeds to work to the best of its ability in the different channels that you integrate with?
And why is this important? Why should you bother? That's because when advertising or sending your products to these different channels, you have to keep in mind that they're being shown in different ways on different sites to different customers in different states than they are on your website. So therefore, it's crucial importance that you adjust the product data to the state of the customer, to the way that it's being displayed, and to the channel that you're sending it. There's a tremendously big difference between Google Shopping, how they display it, what they will actually include in that, what price comparison sites will include in that, and what's important. So keep that in mind when you're adjusting your data. And how do you then make sure that you actually keep this in mind? The first point would be that it's important for you to map out the channels to where you want to send the data. You start out by identifying them, saying, okay, we're going to send it to a price comparison site. That is this one. We're going to send it to search engine marketing for Bing and Google, and then we're going to use it on so many medias. When you mapped out these channels, you should go to these destinations and look how the product ad actually looks there. So what will they display? What's important there? If you are to find a product on Google, what will you search for if you were looking for your own products, for example? That's a good test to do to visualize exactly how it's going to look. Then after that, make sure that you audit the data. See that, okay, do I have all the attributes that I would want to include? Did I want to put color in my titles? Then make sure you have color in there. Is the image that you have, is that the one that will work best on the given channel and might not be the same on the different channels? So when you're sending it to Facebook, for example, a model in the picture might be more desirable than just a white product background. When you're sending it to Google, there are requirements for how the product should look. That it shouldn't be a livestock, for example. Or should it be a certain size? There shouldn't be overlays and so on. So therefore, it's important that you have a very on-point product image. But still, if you're selling, for example, jewelry, it's important that the product doesn't disappear in the background. So it's a small image of the actual earring, and then a lot of white background. Make sure that you can see the product and actually it's fully displayed. Furthermore, you can add more images. So maybe you need to select which one should be the primary, which one should be the secondary for the given channel. All of these decisions you need to make and look into the data that you have at hand, and that's all data related directly to the product, describing it, visualizing it, but also contains product that's indirectly affecting the products. That can be everything from weather data to performance data to analytics data, cost data, and so on. Everything that has some sort of effect on your products and how they might perform out in the different channels. So now you need to start working with the data that you have at hand, adjusting it so that it's in the right format and you include the products that you would want to the channels that you would want, and making the general optimization so you have a good base feed. So the first thing you could do is to segment your product data or your product catalog, so to say. So are the products that are not profitable enough for you to actually advertise on the channels and which don't have this get into the store effect? So products that would never actually bring any real revenue. So that could be products that have a very low price, for example, or products that you only have available in certain sizes that are not going to sell anyways. Make sure to clean these out. It can also be products such as gift cards or how can it be, free goodie bags or something like that you wouldn't want to have in your product feed and spend advertising money on. Make sure that you filter them out. After that, you need to validate that all of the data that you've included, so now you've seen that the attributes are there, but are the data actually there? So does all products have descriptions? Does all products have availability and image and so on? Make sure that you have the premise to create the feeds that you would want for all the products. If those products missing crucial data, It's better to filter them out than to send them to the destination and either have them badly displayed or being rejected by the channel due to a missing image, for example. The last part that's important before you start sending your data out to the different channels, or building your feeds at least, is that you make sure that you turn the individual fields that you have into the best version of themselves. And what do I mean with that? It's just when we import data into a feed management system, for example, the data can be very granular. So good CMS systems will split all data up into individual fields, but that's might not be how you want to send it out again. So for example, we'll have the name of the product as the title, then we'll have a product type, then we'll have a color, size, everything on its own. But if you then have a company policy saying that for all of the channels that I advertise my products on, I have so much brand recognition that the brand should always be included in the titles, then you make sure that you make a default title that is brand plus the name of the product. So you don't need to do this adjustment every time that you create a channel, because if you end up doing 7 different channels for one domain, for example, for one market, and you have 8 different markets, then you end up doing the same thing over 56 times. That's easier if you just create a master rule that this is your default title, basically. And titles are just one thing. The next things are description. We often see description missing or being very short on products. You need to look into, are the GTINs rightly formatted? Are they even GTINs, or it's just something that the supplier has delivered to you guys? Are the images okay? Are they varying? Are they structured in how they actually appear? Is the first one a model image and the next one then stock photos, vice versa? You need to be sure that you have it ordered in the way that will allow you to work most efficiently. So now you've actually built the basis for your data. You've looked into the channels, you looked into your data, the coherence of it and the quality of it. So now you're ready to start integrating your feed to the different channels. So which one to start with is the next big question. And that's not something that we can answer for you. However, how we've seen our customers assess this is by ranging them on importance. So saying which ones are actually driving the most revenue, which one does an optimization of the feed have the biggest effect on. It can also be that you have a problem at hand that you need to solve with the feed management system. Therefore, it's very logical to start with that one, because then you'll actually solve the problem at hand and start advertising. This is a more case-by-case priority, I would say. We would say, you would say, they would say. For the sake of purpose, we'll walk through the 4 most popular destinations, just to give you examples on what's the best practice, how to start optimizing your feed for these channels. We'll start out with Google. We'll dive a little bit into why feed management, optimizing your feed, taking control of the data is important for Google Shopping. Google Shopping, we'll start by exploring the 2 main reasons for taking control of your data and optimizing your product feed. The first one is increasing the exposure that your products get on Google. The next one is actually to structure your campaigns to making sure that your products are getting the attention that they need. For Google Shopping, we'll start by exploring the 2 main. One of the key benefits of optimizing your Google Shopping feed is to enhance the exposure of your products. The more accurate and detailed data you provide to Google, the better your products will rank, leading to increased visibility. While bidding is important, the quality of your feed acts as a crucial factor. The second point, so when it comes to actually improving your campaign structure, it's important to remember that your Google Shopping feed actually serves as the foundation for your campaign structure. So without accurate product types, brands, custom labels, and so on, it can become a very challenging task to actually structure your campaigns, order your products to go in the right campaigns at the right time. Setting different goals based on profit margins, product prices, brands, and other custom labels actually requires you to have these data in your feed. It's crucial to ensure that your feed contains precise and comprehensive data to ensure that you maximize the effectiveness of your campaigns. So if we circle back to the feed quality and why it has actually effect on the relevance of the products, there's a thing called quality score. And although you can't directly see the quality score of your feed, it plays a significant role in determining the relevance of your products. The better the quality of your feed, the higher the relevance you'll achieve, leading to better exposure and performance. You can think of it this way. In Google Hotel Ads, the platform emphasizes feed quality, particularly in terms of price accuracy. It's reasonable to assume that a similar correlation exists between the quality of the data in your Google Shopping feed and its quality score. By optimizing your feed, you increase your chances of appearing in relevant searches and gaining more visibility. So, to summarize the above, optimizing your Google Shopping feed is crucial for increasing exposure and improving your campaign structure. By providing accurate and comprehensive data, you can enhance your product rankings, target relevant searches, and maximize the potential of your campaigns. So now we talked a little bit about how to create a feed, how to adjust it, and how to make sure to optimize it for the different channels that you're sending your product feed to. Now we'll try to dive a little bit more into the specific channels that you actually can integrate with and how you should prioritize to optimize the data for these channels. We'll begin with Google Shopping being the most popular channel. If we look across all of our customers, we say that approximately 98% of them are using a Google Shopping feed as the most popular, so therefore this is where we start, of course. Optimizing attributes for your shopping feed is crucial for improving the feed quality, the quality score of it, and the attribute optimization. We also talked about how it's important in order for you to be able to structure your campaigns as such, and we'll try to dive a little bit deeper into that. When talking about Google Shopping optimization, I will actually focus on 5 attributes that we've chosen to dive a little bit into. That being title, description, product type, custom labels, Google product category. These are the 5 that we will have a little bit of a closer look into. There's of course other attributes that you can leverage when you're doing Google Shopping, but these are the ones that we'll dive into today. If you want more information on how you actually can tweak and turn the other attributes in the feed, just reach out, and our CSMs and account managers would be more than happy to give you a walkthrough of best practices in different attributes in different feeds. But if we start with product titles, this is the key most important area to optimize in your feed. Keywords in titles determine the search term visibility and product appearance of your products within Google search. The key aspects of the title optimization comes as what should your product actually be named, because what will your customers search for when they're looking for your product? So your products might have one name on your website, but when your customers are looking for them, they might be looking for a certain brand, they might be looking for a certain type of product, they might be looking for a certain size, etc. And the title is where you need to flag this. So Google are actually able to identify your product being what the customer searches for, and vice versa, because you also don't want to show your product on irrelevant searches, meaning that they actually search for something completely else, but Google identify your products as the best match. That means that when you're building your titles, you should consider, are you selling t-shirts? Are you selling apparel, so to say? Then factors such as color, size, brand, gender, and so on actually matters. When it comes to gardening tools and so on, the same attributes are not that important. Then it might still be important on brand to tell you this is a quality brand or something like that. Size might matter, material might matter. What I'm trying to say is that you have to keep in consideration what vertical you're serving, what are people actually looking for when they're looking for your products. And you can't say there's a one size fit all. Let's not make this combination of attributes and your titles will perform out of this world. It's not like that. You need to keep in mind who are the people that you're serving these products to and what are they looking. And Google will use your titles to actually look what is this product containing, so to say, and match that to the searches from the customer. So therefore that's key importance that you focus on your titles and make sure they're actually representative for your products. The next one is description. Description optimization is something that has become relevant, because if we look further back in, I can't remember if mid 2010s, I think 2015 or something like that, descriptions were not considered relevant for shopping, and Google didn't take them into account. However, this has changed, and the keywords within your description have actually been indexed and used to show relevant products to consumers. There's still a discussion of whether or not people will actually read a description of a product on a Google Shopping ad. However, as long as you can leverage the information in your description to optimize the relevancy of your ad and the accuracy with which Google matches that to a search for your by your customers, it's something that you should take advantage of. And how do you do that? When we look through product feeds, we often see either there's a generic description or products are missing descriptions. The first thing that you should actually do there is make sure that all of your products has a description, and then you can work from there. That's one issue being solved, that everyone has a description. And then you can see how can I actually specify this to the product. And if you're able to create a Google Shopping feed, you most likely have some specifications on your product of what that is. This can be combined into a description. To take an example, if you have product type, you have color, if you have a brand, and what could it be, product type, then you're already explaining what the product is. If you combine this into a description, that would be better than having no description or having a description of the web shop in general. So make sure that you populate your description. Furthermore, we are running lots of cases right now with AI generated description, because there's no criteria to the fact that the description in your shopping feed should match exactly what's on your website. It can be AI generated. We of course tell all of our customers to keep this on a leash, so it's not something that's running out of running amok, so to say. But it's something that you control, because then you can actually start seeing really good results if you're feeding the AI information about your product, telling it what name it has, what brand it is, what material it is, and then ask it to actually generate the description for you and use this in your shopping feed. Then you can create stellar descriptions in that way, as long as you keep it on a leash, of course. The next thing that we'll dive into is product type and product type optimization, and how this actually can be used for optimizing your feeds, both performance, but also how you structure your product. Because Google has its own Google categorization. We'll come into that a little bit later. This is how Google actually matches or segments the products into searches from the customer. So if they search for a cartwheel, then they will look in the products that are categorized within the Google categories as a cartwheel, first and foremost. Product types is the categories that you're using to actually segment your products into different campaigns. So it can be hard to produce a good structure, so to say, for product type. It can be the breadcrumbs on your website that generates the path into your product, and thereby the category, saying the main product category, then the sub product category, and then the sub product category. This can end up being very messy. Product type can be a hard one to produce correctly for a lot of e-commerce shops out there, just because the sheer fact that one product, for example, can be under different categories. So if you're selling apparel, and let's say you have a product that's a glove. A glove can be placed both on the apparel, accessories, handwear, gloves, for example. That's one category string. But then you're also running an outlet store where the same gloves right now are on sale. So they're also placed on the outlet, accessories, handwear. So that means that there are suddenly two categories that actually define this product. Therefore, it's key importance that you are actually able to cleanse and segment this data so you can structure the category types as you want to. And that way you'll be able to structure your campaigns better, making sure that the right products go in the right campaigns along with the products that it's associated to, if you see that kind of connection within your product catalog. Furthermore, a tip that we've utilized on some of our clients and that we see great result with are, for example, the fact that product type is not something that will per se determine the relevance of your products towards Google, meaning that you actually get a bit of I can say, room for trying out things. So if you have good data structure and you have a correct Google category that will make sure that Google know that this is a glove, for example. You have product titles explaining the brand, you have descriptions on point. Then you can actually leverage the product type so that you say, okay, I'm covering every search of male gloves in leather for this size. But then Father's Day is coming up. And you actually want to, okay, we want to nudge people who are searching for Father's Day's gifts. I know this myself. That's how I find the gift for my father. I will search on Google in order to find it. So therefore, when you put, for example, Father's Day gift in the product type, Google will actually see this as, okay, this glove is a Father's type. It's placed under a Father's type category. Doesn't need to be so, but it will have the keyword in there and be recognized on it, so you can actually start spreading the reach of these products. This is an example for Father's Day. It actually goes for other holidays or campaigns that you would like to branch a little bit out on. Custom labels is something that we see, I would say, a little bit underused by our existing feed clients, so to say, something that should be leveraged to control your data even more than it is today, because Google has this range that's starting from 0, and why they're starting from 0, that's a discussion that we can take another day because it makes no sense, but they have custom labels 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So they have these 5 options for you to put data into your feed that can help you both structure it, dissect it into different campaigns, control it into PMax campaigns or standard shopping campaigns that you're doing yourself, or help you analyze the data. So actually see, okay, tag them with a certain tag so you can recognize them in analytics and see, okay, why is this product not performing? Why is this product performing better than other? And that's something that requires you to take control of your data and then utilize it. And it can be on any parameter that you would like. It can be a bestseller, it can be a margin, it can be pricing level, seasonality. So say that you want to do a campaign for the products that's in your Halloween campaign, because you're selling, you have one category of costumes or dresses or whatever it could be. And for the upcoming Halloween, you want to make sure that these go in a campaign that has quite a high spend, but the rest, the socks that you're selling and the underwear you're selling, is not that relevant. The only way that you can structure this is to make sure that you highlight it somewhere in the attributes. And custom labels are gifts sent from heaven in that sense, because it makes it possible for you to actually tell yourself and Google Ads that this product should actually have the attention that it should. Therefore, utilize these custom labels. It is a blessing, so to say. The last part we'll go into is the Google product categories and how to optimize this. Right now, we're living in a world where Google will actually categorize it categorize it themselves, meaning that if you don't have a Google category, they will suggest one for you. They'll actually do it even if you have one. But if you're sending a Google category, you'll use that one. However, when I started working with feeds, there was no Google categories being made by Google, and you had to actually create it yourself in order to send it to Google for that to be a Google category. That required us to set a bunch of rules and come up with a smart way to actually do this. Right now, in most premium feed management platforms like ourselves, you'll actually find an automated way of doing automated Google categories. That can be either through AI or through rules, so that you either do it at bulk or you actually tell someone to identify what is this product and set the Google category for you. It's a good thing that Google actually helps you set your Google category taxonomy. However, it will only go as deep as it can. And if you're, for example, selling books, Google will use the media books category for all of your books across your entire catalog. However, to you as a book salesman, it might be very, very relevant which type of book it is. So it will go deeper. So it's important to go deeper because you'll see a big difference in performance based on the type of book. So if you're selling erotic novels, if you're selling literature that's determined for school, if you're selling literature that's novels or fictional or something like that, you'll see great performance difference between this, and you will treat them as different products. Therefore, it's important that you tell Google that these products are actually different. It's not just books, all of them. They're evolved around a certain genre, they're attentive to a certain range of people, and should have different attention, so to say. Therefore, it's important that you look beyond what Google actually sets as a category in order for you to help them recognize what your products are, and don't always just go with the generic version. So that was actually all of the 5 attributes: the title, the description, the custom labels, the product type, the Google category, and the description that I wanted to talk about in this session. As I mentioned before going into it, if you want to dive into other topics of your Google feed, if you want to look at other attributes, don't hesitate to reach out. We love talking about feeds, we love talking about product data and how you can hack, twist, or tweak to enhance your performance. So please reach out if you have any questions to it. That's one thing I'll also say that's very important for your feed optimization for your Google Shopping feed, and that's cleaning the data, making sure that you reduce the noise in your product feed. It's not tied to one specific attribute. This is tied to your entire product catalog, your entire product attribute range, to make sure that the data that you're serving to Google will actually represent your products in the best possible way. An example of that could be if you're an international shop and you per default use English wordings for, again, I'll take apparel, for your shirts, your t-shirts, your dresses, and so on, you can see a tremendous uplift in just focusing on converting these words, these sentences, to the local language that you're catering these products to. Meaning that if you're in the Danish market and trying to promote a shirt or a dress or something like that, because that's what you call them on your website, and that might be okay because you're actually addressing an international consumer, so to say. But when they're searching for products locally in their markets, they'll tend to use the local words for the language. Use your feed management tool to that. Swap the language. Just say it. If it says dress, then write kjole, that it is in Danish. Then you'll actually make sure there's a better representation on the market within the search engine than just having it in that default English language. So that was everything from me. Remember, if you want to know more about how you could optimize your feed for Google, reach out to us. We actually also are offering free audits based on the Google Shopping format, and that's even vertical specific. So you can send over your product feed, we'll run it through our analyzer, and it will tell you, okay, what errors are there, meaning what could maybe cause your products to be rejected, what optimization possibilities are there something that's worth noticing, something that could give an uplift. And again, it's specific to the vertical. So if you're selling apparel, if you're selling books, it will tell you what have we seen being the best practice on this specific vertical within this channel. So the next channel that we're going to talk about is, as I said, our second most popular channel when we look across all of our customers today and our partners, the channel that they're looking to integrate with when they set up their feeds. It's Facebook or Meta, depending on how modern you are, I guess. And a lot of the things that's being said for how to optimize your Google Shopping feed, of course, also goes for your Facebook feed. There's the importance of having coherent data, meaning data that is actually updated and coherent with what it is on your website, meaning price should be the same, availability should be up to date, is it in stock, is it out of stock. Optimizing how you display your products, meaning that if you write your brand with all capital letters, like for example H&M, that you don't have one product that's being displayed with the brand in small letters and one in capital letters. That's some of the general hygiene that you need to make sure are on point. But when it comes to actually presenting your data, there's some topics that we're going to dive into. We're going to start with what's important in terms of the attribute, how you define them. Then we're going to look into the more visual aspect of Facebook advertising, because here you have a little bit more freedom and how you can use your creativity to actually make sure that your products catch the attention of the users of Meta or Facebook, and so that they notice your products when they scroll through their feed. Because we have to remember, this is an exposing game, whereas search engine marketing is more about making your products relevant to the search. This is where you want to catch the eye of the user. The last thing that we're going to dive into is the different formats of Facebook ads, because based on your vertical, there are different types of ads that you need to keep in mind are there. And a lot of our customers are actually not aware that this was an opportunity. So I'm going to just highlight the different forms of ads in the end, so that everyone who sees this video at least is aware of them. But if we start with the attribute optimization, there are some key differences, because when I say that search engine marketing is one thing and then social media marketing is another thing when it comes to optimizing your product data for the ads, what I mean there is that you don't need, in the same way that you search term optimize the title, you don't need to do that for your Facebook ads. Here, people will see your ad, but they will mainly focus on your image. They focus on the attributes that you serve around the image, but they'll not look to your titles to know what it is, because they'll have the visuals actually describing the image for them. Therefore, you don't need to put in a size, color, material. Or material might be relevant, but if you can't really determine it from the image. But it's more important that you use a compelling title, meaning that it's if you have a name of the product, use that. If you have a big brand recognition, definitely use that. Besides that, it's important that you have the coherency, so you don't have titles, like I said in the beginning, with small letters or capital letters, or some that you're including everything, meaning all attributes that you have in the title, and then you'll see a very, very messy display of your ads. Keep a coherence so you have a clean and neat appearance on your SoMe marketing. There's of course some required attributes, but they go for Google as well as they go for Facebook, unless Facebook, except Facebook is actually less, how can you say it, demanding when it comes to what should be in a feed and what can't be in a feed. However, you'll see Facebook being rejective of, what can you say, sexual language, illegal content such as weapon, drugs, and so on. That also goes for the image. So if they see sexual content on your product images, they'll also tend to dismiss the products. We have helped a lot of, for example, lingerie wear with making sure that their products will be accepted, even though they're selling thongs and they're trying to display this in a model view with a rear showing on the image. Facebook will say this is actually pornographic content and therefore you're not allowed to serve it. Then just making sure that the image is either taken from the front or it's a stock photo that you cater to Facebook on this certain product will get you accepted. However, also selling products that has ambiguous language in it. For example, we have, what can you say, hardware, kitchenware, selling cups that has a certain pattern that is called, in Danish, it's called rifled, that would be nibbled in English, and rifle means the same as a shotgun in Danish. So therefore they tend to be rejected because Facebook will read that as a weapon, basically. So changing the language in that sense will get the products accepted. Besides that, importance on Facebook is that you actually can control your data again. I know I said this for the search engine marketing as well, but on Facebook, it is key importance that you can put your products into categories, you can put them into segments if there's certain products of your product catalog that only is relevant for younger people, for example, then split your product catalog or your product types into that, so you actually can segment it. If you have some that's only addressed to people in a certain geographical area, make sure that you actually highlight this so you can segment the data. The next thing I'll go into is product images. Product images is one of the key features for your SoMe ads or meta ads, because this is where you will catch the attention of the the potential use. With Facebook, you actually also have the opportunity to play around with the images, be more creative, create templates that's actually telling the user something about the product without them having to click into it or reading a description. With that, I mean that you can create visuals that's based on the state of the product or any condition that you would like. So meaning you can create templates that your products are on sale, so that you put a splash on telling them right now there's a summer sale, end of season sale with 50% discount on this product. You can also create templates that's a branded template where you focus more on emphasizing the brand, because you know that your customers have a lot of brand recognition, so that when they scroll through their feed, they'll see, okay, this is actually from the brand that I love. But the thing is that on these on a channel like Facebook, you have complete freedom to do whatever you want with the images. So therefore, this is your unique opportunity to catch the attention of the users. So make sure you leverage this. Set up different templates. Find out what works best for you. Is it a branded template? Is it an on sale template? Is it a canvas that's describing a bit more about the material of the product and the CSR profile of your company? You have complete freedom to do this, and you can control it within your feed management system so that you actually test out what works for you. We've seen great results with this, and please go to our blog and check out some of the cases that we have on this, because I'm quite sure there's something in it for you as well. The last thing that I'll just mention is the different types of ads that you can serve on Facebook/Meta, because Facebook DPA is the standard for any products that's being sold, but different verticals actually have different opportunities to advertise products on Facebook, meaning that verticals such as the travel industry have both destination and hotel ads on Facebook. The car industry, the automotive, have Facebook automotive ads. We have real estate ads, and so on. So therefore, it's important that you investigate the vertical that you're in. If you're not in a straight e-commerce shop, that or a pure player like that, is there a certain feed format that I actually should obey to, and how do I set it up? How can I actually leverage this to my advantage? So that was our quick intro into Meta and how you actually can optimize your feed for that channel. Here the focus is very, very much on how to actually make your visuals more appealing. If you would like to know more about this, there's great sources out there to actually read what works in the best way. If you just want to try it out, see how it could work for your products, just get in touch and we'll gladly set up a template or a demo for you so you actually can see your products and how they would look. You'll see it directly on the screen, live photo of how it looks if we remove the background, if we put it somewhere else, if we put it on a canvas. You'll get an account that you can share with your graphic department so they can do it directly in your feed as well, so you don't need that communication that we want it to look this way, okay, execute, and then put it on the website. Next up, we'll talk a bit about how to actually control your feeds and when it comes to the price comparison services there are. Okay, so now we've been through Google shopping feed, how to optimize your product data for that, how to control your data out on Meta/Facebook. So the next thing that we're going to look into is how do you actually control your data when you're sending it to a price comparison site. And what do I mean when I say price comparison site? For you operating in the Scandinavian markets, it would be the likes of Price Runner, Prisjakt, Price Hunter, etc. On these sites, you'll probably say, but yeah, these guys actually just crawl our website and show our products. There's nothing your product feed really can do about that. But if you're actively integrating your feeds to the price comparison service, you actually have the opportunity to manage the products, how they're being displayed and how they're being prioritized. Because if you're doing active advertising on these channels, you will probably by now have recognized the fact that your products or the clicks that your products get through this price comparison site is quite expensive compared to search engine clicks, for example, or SoMe clicks. Therefore, it's of key importance that the clicks that is being generated also generate some conversions. However, if you, for example, are a brand owner, it's very unlikely that you are the cheapest availability out there. There might be some of your resellers that are less expensive. However, I know when I'm looking for products that I will probably go to the brand's own site to read about the product if I want to know what material it's built in, how can I actually utilize it best, and so on. So therefore, if you are a brand owner and you're actively advertising your products on a price comparison site, you might risk that people just click on your ad to go in and read about the product, but at the same price comparison site, they can actually see, okay, it's cheap up there, so I'll just buy it there. So therefore, it's key importance that you know which product you're not competitive on. Which products are you too expensive to, for whatever reason it might be, in order for you to not spend advertising money on those channels, on a price comparison channel, where you won't win the click. That also goes for non-brand owners. So if you are a reseller and serving a lot of different brands, but you know that you have 3, 4, 5 very ferocious competitors within the same market, and they're actually able to drive down prices a bit, then it's key importance for you to actually know, okay, if I spend advertising money on this price comparison service, I might risk that people go into my product without buying it and buying it somewhere else. And how should you know this? There's different ways to actually know whether or not you're more competitive than your competitors on the price when it comes to these channels. One thing is there's a lot of different price comparison services or price monitoring services out there that you can utilize. They produce great data, and this data should be in your feed so you know how your products are actually performing compared to your competitors, especially when it comes to price comparison sites, because that one there you need to know, okay, which products are actually relevant for me to advertise on and which one are not relevant, because there they will see immediately what price is the cheapest on a certain product. So therefore, if you're using price monitoring, include that in. And that can be a third-party software. They will be able to expose the data so that you can actually use it. It could also be that you are looking at your Google Merchant Center to see the benchmark in there. It could also be a feed management service, such as Wake Up Data, who are doing crawling on your competitor sites and merging it to your data or infusing it into your data so that you can use it in feeds. There you can take the opportunity to actually set filters to exclude the products from the price comparison services, or you can just set custom labels, product types, to make sure that you're not spending advertising money on these products out of those channels. So that very short snippet was about price comparison sites. The last channel that we're going to jump into is a little bit more broad. It's marketing automation per se, how you actually can leverage your product feed when you're setting up email campaigns, customer club for customer clubs, and so on. So stay tuned.